First time that I ever snuck out of the house was like at 2 a.m. to go buy a jug of milk.
How old were you?
Probably like 13, 12.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with that milk?
We wrote some funny shit on it, like secret milk. Ooh, don't talk about the secret milk or some shit like that.
Because
Like
were you like
midnight
scared you were
milk.
going to get in trouble?
I don't know, not really. I think we were going to drink it all before the morning anyways.
That's so disgusting.
No, it's not. Milk's good. This is Kevin Causes Chaos podcast with me, Kevin, and my wife, Nikki. We just talk about some bullshit, talk about some tattoo shit, talk about some of our life shit, and other shit.
So Friday the 13th.
Yeah. We did a tattoo flash day.
And it was crazy. So we did one in August. We did an alien flash day. And it was poor planning on my part because I didn't check to see what else was going on in town. And we had like 4 people show up for that one.
Yeah, well, there was Fresh Fest.
There was
and
Fresh Fest and
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
So like a university party and like a liquor party.
And everybody was drunk as fuck.
They're busy getting fucking wasty pants.
So after that one, I got really nervous for this one. Like, we woke up, all last week I was doing Friday the 13th stuff and I was getting shit ready, but we woke up Friday and I always get that feeling like no one's going to show up.
Yeah.
But Friday was bad. I was like, this is going to blow.
We also didn't advertise the alien one, I think, enough.
Yeah.
I know on my part, I definitely didn't. But the Friday the 13th one, I advertised the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
I shared that thing like every day or every second day.
So we ended up getting to the shop like around 11.
Yeah.
And we didn't leave the shop until 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, we each tattooed 11 people. We had to turn people away. But we were exhausted.
Yeah.
It was good. But then, like, everybody's in Calgary at the fucking TatCon, and I was like, well, this would just be night one for them. Like, can you imagine having to do 2 more days of that?
Yeah, no, I've never tattooed a convention. I've, like, been the desk man at a convention, but I've never tattooed at a convention. And
it's so exhausting.
I don't think I want to. Like, I did
it's
one.
So
I did
hard.
one tattoo in your station.
Yeah.
And
you hated it.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Like, I like having my setup in my spot with my shit.
Tattoo conventions are fun. But I mean, like, I haven't worked one since well before COVID. And I feel like I would get so tired. Like, I think the last tattoo convention, besides like a in-town one, I feel like a home convention's a bit different because you get to go home.
Oh, like out of town.
Yeah. The last out-of-town convention I was working, or I did, was Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And I was drinking at that time.
Yeah.
Because we did like summer house, and we rented a big house, and it was all the boys and me and Amanda and Tat. And we just like went to the house, cracked beers, drew all night. Like, we wouldn't go to bed till 5, and then we'd get up for 10 to eat and then go back to the hall. And like, I don't know if I could do that anymore. I mean, I don't drink anymore, so maybe if I pull the drinking out of it, but it's exhausting. So we each tattooed 11 people on Saturday, and the last few people I tattooed, I think they met a very different Nikki than my first few. I think my second last girl was like Haley's friend, and I was just like, oh my God. I like wasn't saying anything. I was letting them talk.
Yeah.
And I was so happy they had friends with them because I was just like, holy fuck,
yeah.
What am I doing? Like, this is unreal. And we didn't eat all day. Like, we were eating sugar. I was eating Haley's Halloween candy.
Yeah.
But then we like ordered pizza at it was almost midnight.
I drank 3 cans of Coke as soon as the pizza
instantly.
came. Yeah.
Well, the pizza guy was like, "Oh, cool, like late night." I was like, "We've been here all day, dude. Like, we're exhausted."
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah, it was good. It worked out good. So tattooing is like one interesting job.
It's weird.
Yeah, weirdest job I've ever had. Because I only really started tattooing professionally last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And I worked a dozen different jobs before that.
You had like real jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to talk about today. today, our conversation is going to be jobs that we had before we started tattooing. So you've worked a couple jobs.
I had a couple.
You did what?
My
Smitty's?
first job, I had to lie about my age so that I could get it. And it was Smitty's. I was hostessing at Smitty's, and that sucked. Because I would go to school 5 days a week, and then Saturday, Sunday, I would do the morning, like the breakfast rush.
Right.
It was horrible. After that, I worked at Warehouse One for a couple months.
You were a server, right? You were.
I did hosting and serving if it needed to be done.
Right. Okay.
But like, I was not good at it. And then I did Warehouse One for a couple months and Ardeen for a couple months, and I ended up quitting / getting let go because I refused to do the piercing at Ardeen.
Okay.
Because I was like, this is so unsanitary. At that time, I was already tattooing friends.
Right.
Not in a good way. But I was like, this is so unsanitary, and I refuse to do this. So I quit that. And then I did Walmart for a little bit in the shoe department, and that was just a shit show because like every kid in Swift Current worked at Walmart, so it was just like homies. And then I did the skate shop. And then I got my apprenticeship. And when I was apprenticing, I worked at a pub. And that, honestly, the Drum and Monkey was probably my favorite job.
Yeah.
Like, it was fucked up.
Aside from tattoo.
But I got to, but I got to sit in the back and I got to make food and eat food. It was the only reason I was able to eat as an apprentice because I got free food. And it was like a fun environment, but no serious jobs by any means. The skate shop was fun too, but.
So you ate out of the bar.
Yeah.
But where did I eat out of before we met? Because I worked at the landfill.
Because Kevin worked at the dump.
And I ate out of the dump.
You ate out of the dump.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Like a real dirty garbage man. Okay, but
when I met you.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Safeway and Co-op and all those fucking big grocery chains, they throw away a dump truck of food a day at least.
Yeah. Because they're wasteful
before it expires, because they can't put it on the shelf because it expires in 3 days. So I'd get like muffins and shit, and it's still good for like 3 days. And I'm like, fuck.
Like, and at that point,
yes,
why wouldn't it sucks that they don't like give it to a shelter or something and they just dump it? But
well,
when I met
there
Kevin,
was a whole thing with that.
What?
Like they can't give it to a shelter in case it does expire and someone gets it and someone gets sick and they'll be liable, right?
Fair enough, but
yeah.
Like, we're more worried about our liability than we are about
there's been people that have been fired from like grocery
so
chains for like giving away food to the homeless. That's gonna
well,
go
Tim
bad.
Hortons, they like have to dump it. Even
Tim
if there's
Hortons
people outside, they
Tim
can't.
Hortons is just terrible.
But when I met Kevin, he said he was a picky eater, and I didn't realize how picky he was. But I looked in his fridge, and he had like ketchup and some syrup, like 3 bottles of syrup, and you were just like, yeah, I got them at the dump. And I don't think that you ever clarified how Co-op and Safeway and all these places would bring in these. So I literally, for like probably a year or two, thought that you just found these bottles in the dump, like somebody's fucking garbage.
No, to be fair, that is probably how I got those. Like, I don't think I got those ones full. For fuck's
sake.
I don't, don't count me out. But what was I gonna say? Shit, fuck. I lost my train of thought. Oh, there was the Old Dutch Day.
Oh, Old Dutch Day.
And I tell people this story all the time, and this is a cool story. So I'm sitting at the dump, picking my nose, watching this 18-wheeler unload pallet after pallet after pallet. It took them 8 hours. They were there all day.
Christ.
2 guys unloading an 18-wheeler filled to the brim with pallets of chips.
Sick.
And it was a mountain. They made a mountain of fucking chips. And it was the ones in the box.
Oh, yeah.
The Old Dutch box,
the
2 like, silver
bags.
bags.
Yeah. There's like there's special flavors on those that you can't get. Yeah.
You're not supposed to take anything out of the dump.
No.
And no one ever did take anything out of the dump.
Nobody ever took anything.
But so these guys unloaded this full fucking truck. At the end of the day, I watched them each grab a couple boxes of chips. I assumed for themselves. And so I came over and I was like, yo, what's the deal? Are these expired right away or what's up? And the guy looked at me and his eyes lit up and he goes, no. The machines at work went crazy and they double dosed all the flavors. So it was like double salt and vinegar,
That's
double
fucking
ketchup,
incredible.
double barbecue.
And they were like, sorry, didn't pass quality control, fucking dump.
And so me and the boys ate good for
the
next 2
you ate
months.
so good.
We ate a lot of
Did
chips.
you take so many home?
We didn't take any home.
Oh, you filled the break room.
We didn't fill the break room because we would have gotten in trouble from the managers. So we like filled a shed.
Stop it.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, we're like, yo, we'll stick these in here.
That's good.
But yeah, the dump was a crazy job.
You loved that. When I met you, you were a Snapchat boy.
Oh.
You were like the king. Like he fucking loved social media. He was all over it, which is crazy because now he hates it. But I would get like easily between 15 and 20 Snapchats a day of you guys doing dumbass shit at the dump. Like hitting Furbies with golf clubs.
It was one of the funnest jobs I ever had. It was so fun.
I remember when I don't know, we maybe knew each other for like a month. We got married after we knew each other 4 months. So like shit was fast, but I didn't know you very long. And we were in Calgary and we were at your place and you jumped up. You're like, we gotta go. And I was like, okay, like, where are we going? You're like, it doesn't matter. We just gotta go. And we were driving and I didn't know where the dump was in Calgary. I had never been there. So we're driving, like, kind of getting outside of town. And flashback, there was a time in high school where somebody drove me out in the middle of nowhere and left me there. So I'm getting these fucking, like, trauma flashbacks. And I'm like, where are we going? Like, I got so scared and quiet. And I was just like, what do I do? Like, is he dropping me off in the middle of nowhere? And then we go to the dump and your homie, I just remember you walking out of the truck and, like, so sneaky. Like, being like, here. Because it was Nintendo stuff. And he called you up and he was like, bro, you gotta come get this right now. And it was like a full setup, wasn't it?
Not that I did take it.
Not that you did take it.
But there was the arcade controller for the original Nintendo. So not your typical little handheld controller. There was the arcade controller with the joystick and a box of games for Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And people threw away some really cool shit.
Crazy stuff.
Let's go back to my first job.
Okay.
And I'm going to cycle through.
All right, let's cycle. You've had some cool, you've had some jobs.
I worked for a lot of like big corporations.
Yeah.
So my first job was Walmart. And I'm not the smartest cookie. So they stuck me in hardware and paint. I was at the paint desk.
When they still had a paint desk.
When Walmart still made house paint. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know the fucking difference between oil paint and latex paint. I didn't know the difference between semi-gloss and flat. So someone's like, yeah.
Did you try to learn?
Not really. I was
you were in high school.
15,
you didn't
16.
give a fuck. Yeah.
So someone comes in and they're like, yeah, I want this paint. And I was like, fuck, sure, here you go. And like every paint I gave them, I sold, probably got returned. Jesus. They're like, yo, this isn't the right color.
Not the right paint.
Or like, yeah, like I can't put latex over oil paint. And I was like, sure you can. Why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, but it was a pain in the ass. And I just went to work every day and didn't give a fuck.
You just didn't care, yeah.
Got
Why
my
would
paycheck
you?
and made a whole $7.35 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Like, go fuck yourself, Walmart.
So I quit that. I quit Walmart. Actually, no, I tried.
Troy worked at Walmart at that time too, right?
Yeah,
your homie?
me and all my homies worked at Walmart.
Yeah,
John worked at Walmart. Jenna worked at Walmart. Troy worked at Walmart. A bunch of.
We would all meet at electronics. We would all just hang out in electronics, the front, and then we'd be like, "Oh, we were just going to the bathroom. We're going back to our section." Fuck that. No, we weren't.
Me and this one guy, we used to staple each other.
Sick.
And I remember one day I stapled papers all down my arms like a bird.
Fuck's sake.
And so there was like these bloody sheets of paper because they were stapled to my arms.
I got in so much. You know the name tags you had to have?
Yeah.
And then they had the Walmart, like the Happy Face stickers.
Yeah.
And you'd put them on your name tag, whatever. And I made them all look like Motley Crue. I drew Sharpie around them.
Okay.
I got into so much trouble for that. Like the boss pulled me in and was like, this is so inappropriate. Like, and it wasn't. I just like drew 80s metal hair on them. But I got so much trouble for that. And I was like, what is this real world bullshit?
I remember Troy took Wade's name tag and ran it through the paper shredder. But it was too thick, so it didn't shred.
No.
So it just turned it into like a fucking ripple chip.
Like ripple chip.
And Wade was so pissed because every day when he punched in, it took him like 5 minutes to actually punch in.
Because it couldn't.
And he was bitching about it one day. And Troy took his fucking thing again, but ran it through the opposite way. So now it was like a fucking rippled checkerboard. Yeah, we had fun. Working at Walmart.
And what was your next one?
Then I quit Walmart to go to Toys R Us.
Oh, yeah.
And Toys R Us was the worst job I've ever had. It was just terrible.
And you love Toys R Us. It's like the happiest place on earth for you.
I go there all the time now because I love the staff here.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Lethbridge Toys R Us staff.
Yeah.
They're angels. Good people.
But I got in huge shit for having tattoos at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
I had some skulls on my arm.
Yeah.
Just skulls. There's
wieners, nothing inappropriate, no.
And they made me
Not
wear...
like your legs.
they made me wear a long sleeve sweater.
Yeah.
And I worked in the back away from customers.
Yeah, you were like warehouse.
I was unloading trucks.
Yeah.
And there was a little girly girl I used to make out with in the back there.
Nice.
I think her name was Carissa.
Get it, babe.
Yeah. Making out in the trucks at Toys R Us.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I quit on Christmas because they were just being fucking assholes.
Crazy, yeah.
They would lock us in. Like, Toys R Us would close at 9 or 10, and they would keep a bunch of teenagers there till midnight because they're like, we need this fucking toonie. We're short this fucking toonie. I'm like, yo, I'll give you a toonie out of my fucking pocket. They're like, no, it has to be the toonie.
It's funny how companies like that...
Toonie is a $2 coin.
Oh, yeah. A toonie is a $2 coin to anybody. It's crazy how companies like that, like these big billion-dollar companies, like... they just demand so much of, like, when I was at Walmart, it was grade 12. It was my last semester. My second semester of grade 12 was fucking, like, easy as fuck. But my one class that was important that I needed to graduate was my last class of the day. Yeah. And they'd be like, we need you here at 3:30. I'm like, bitch, the bell goes at 3:27. Like, and they were like, no, you have to get here.
That's a weird time for the bell to go.
Yeah, we had really weird, bell times.
You remember that.
Yeah, but... they would like give us so much, and like all the kids that worked at Walmart, it was like 3:30, you got to get here. And then I remember finals week, I think like almost everybody I knew got fired finals week because they were like, we need you here. And we were like, but we have we need to graduate this shit. And they're like, well, what's important to you? If Walmart's not, like, no, Walmart's not important to me, go fuck yourself.
Do you remember doing like the video?
Oh, fuck.
Courses in the back.
Fuck that.
Were super annoying. Those were terrible.
Fuck that. They were so monotonous.
So from Walmart to Toys R Us, I believe my next job was West 49.
Oh, fuck
in Sunridge Mall.
Yes.
And that was dope. Because I worked with older fucking skate kids.
Yeah.
And I thought they were all cool as fuck. Shout out Reggie, shout out Kyle,
yeah.
Shout out the couple ladies that worked there. My manager was a smoke show.
I loved the skate shop, yeah. It was fun.
And they're like, yeah, we do burlesque shows, but you're not allowed to come because you're a minor.
You're a minor.
And I was like, fuck, I want to see them fucking electrical tape nipples, right? Like, but yeah, I had really fun.
You would have been in high school still?
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I got my first pair of Nike SBs when they first came out. I got the original first pair.
Did West do snowboard gear too?
We did not.
No?
I don't think so, no. If they did, I didn't. I couldn't.
Yeah. Did you have to grip boards?
Yeah,
and
I gripped boards all the time.
Yeah, we had to like wax
a lot.
snowboards and shit too. It was cool learning how to do all that.
Yeah.
And I used to have guys that would come in and they'd be like, oh, is Mike here? And I'd be like, no, it's just me. Because it was only two of us. And they'd be like, well, we don't want you to like put our deck together. It's like, fuck you. I'm better at this than this.
The best part boys at this. Of working in a skate shop was skateboarding in Sunridge Mall.
Yes.
When the mall was closed.
Amazing.
That was sick.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That'd be so cool. It's like The Complicated Video by Avril Lavigne.
And
IRL.
I think I quit because I just wanted to drink and party or something. I can't remember why I quit West 49.
Was it maybe like, did you want like a higher paying job? Because would you have been with Jessica and the Babe?
No.
Okay.
No. Then I think I might be mixing these up. I went from West 49, I think, to the liquor store. I think because, I quit West 49 and I was unemployed for a bit and I just sat at home and drank. And then I got a job at the liquor store and I started dating the girl that was the manager there. So yeah, I'm working at the liquor store.
Yeah.
I'm dating the girl that's the manager. The liquor store, there was a lot of shady shit going on there, so I'm not gonna get super into
Northeast Calgary,
because it was the hood.
And
I don't want to get anyone mad at me, because there was a lot of employee theft, like a lot.
like a lot.
We had fake cameras, And so it was shady as hell, and we had all just like smoked a ton of weed in the back, and it was bad. It was funny. We had some good times there. But I worked there for 2 years, and then I went to the Rona warehouse.
Yeah.
Or I think maybe I worked at the co-op warehouse at some point too. Not for long. Co-op warehouse was bullshit.
What did you do at like Rona and Co-op? Just like loading shit?
Oh, well, I would do like the pallet picking, or like I pick products. So I had like a forklift kind of thing, but it only raised like 7 inches.
Yeah.
And I can carry 2 pallets on the back, and I'd drive up and down the aisles and build orders to ship to different stores.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually I started being like a dock guy. So I just stayed on the docks with like a 12-foot forklift.
Yeah.
And I would just load the trucks. Mm-hmm. And then I got my interview for the landfill.
Yeah.
And
you'd been trying to get that for a while, right?
I went to like
job
3
fairs.
years in a row of job fairs.
Yeah.
Because it was like fucking $20 plus an hour.
Yeah.
It ended up like being like $30 an hour there. It was a sick job.
For that time.
Yeah.
You were
for a 20-year-old kid.
Well, yeah, exactly. You were just getting fucking
sick.
tattoos and booze, like, yeah.
And then for a little bit, I did junk removal for like a summer
Oh shit.
because I got laid
How did I not
off
know
the
this?
city of
Oh
Calgary.
yeah, right, yeah. Because
And I
they
worked
would,
with
like,
some kid
seasonal.
that was like, this kid was bonkers. He was like pathological liar.
Oh, we love those. We know
Yeah.
a few of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have drums, I have tattoo machines, you should tattoo me, we should be in a band together. I was like, I'm already in a band. He's like, no, let's start our own band. He's like, I want the band to be called No Rest. And I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, I want you to tattoo No Rest on my stomach.
Jesus
So I
Christ.
did.
So fucking cool, bro.
So I did in my basement, I tattooed this kid.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then like we worked together, and we would be taking junk out of people's house,
Yeah.
and he would steal from them.
Oh
in
my
their
god.
house.
Like shit that they didn't want out?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's...
So we're like unloading like, dressers and TVs and old shit that they're like, take this, take this, take this.
Yeah.
And we're in the basement of this old lady's house, like old granny. And he's like, look at these nunchucks. Like, why does grandma have nunchucks? And I was like, oh yeah, sweet,
Grandma's
whatever.
dope.
And I'm like 5 feet in front of him.
Yeah.
And she's upstairs, we're in the basement. We get out to the truck. We each throw a box of bullshit in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And he pulls these nunchucks out of his
Oh
pants.
my god.
And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Put those back. He's like, no, she gave them to me.
No, she
I
fucking
was like,
did it.
dude,
That's bullshit.
I was like, you were in my line of sight like the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah. And so he ended up getting fired for using the company credit card to download songs off of iTunes.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That dates you right there.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a trip. I think we've seen him once since we've been married. We ran into him in the flea market.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he was like one of the people that like really got me into stretching my ears more.
Yeah.
Like I had them stretched, and he's like, no, fucking use
Do
these,
it,
use
yeah.
these silicones, fucking go as big as you can. But yeah, I've had a few jobs.
Tattooing is definitely an upgrade from all these jobs.
Yeah, it's nice being your own boss.
Fuck.
Setting your own hours.
Yeah.
Not getting talked down to by a boss. Not getting written up. Because, like, the landfill was sick.
But you were close.
I was one write-up away from
Yeah.
being fired.
Because you were losing radios.
Yeah.
Which I think that's so stupid that they would write you guys up for that shit when, like, what do they expect? You're in the garbage.
Yeah.
Like, even if you weren't fucking around in the garbage, like, that probably helped you lose some radios.
I was
like,
a waste screener. So I had to pull out microwaves or
Yeah.
propane tanks or shit that wasn't supposed to be in there. So yeah, I'd get super fucking dirty.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, where's my radio?
Yeah.
Well, it's in this massive pile of garbage
Yeah.
somewhere.
You can't
so you walk
fucking-
around with another radio going beep 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 beep, trying
yeah,
to
try to
find
find
it.
it, but you're never going to find
Never
that
gonna
shit.
find it. Yeah.
No.
The odd day we'd get lucky and find it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you would like offer to pay for them.
Yeah, you couldn't pay
and you
for
couldn't
it.
pay for it, which
No.
is so fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah.
take that shit out of my check. Don't write me up for it.
Yeah.
Or figure out a better way for us to have these on our body that's more secure than just stuffed in a pocket.
Yeah, well,
Like-
we tried like fishing line for a bit, but those would like after they bend so many times they break.
It would break. Yeah.
Yeah, it was whatever.
Would you go back to the dump?
If I wasn't tattooing,
Like if you couldn't tattoo, would you like try to get in at the dump?
I don't think they would take me, but
Yeah. Fair enough.
I don't know. I would.
Did you ever do garbage truck duty?
A couple times.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, during like the high river floods and shit.
Oh yeah.
We would go, and everyone like put their garbage at the side of the road, and yeah, that was fun. On the garbage trucks was fun.
Yeah. Well, they get first dibs.
But I never wanted to drive one of those trucks.
Yeah, because
like I would had to pay for the license and the test.
And they weren't going to pay you more, right?
And yeah, I was already maxed out.
And
unless I became a manager or something.
There's no way you're not going to crash that shit at some point.
Well, yeah, that's what they say. They say it's not
like,
if you do, it's when you do.
Yeah.
And just make sure it's not your fault. But yeah, I watch those guys back the garbage trucks down the tiniest little alleys where both of their mirrors are hanging over both fucking sides of the fence. And I was like, no way. This isn't for me. Like, I'll be the second guy on the truck and pick my nose and show them funny shit on my phone all day. Yeah. But driving those trucks, it's like too much responsibility.
Yeah. But you had a good crew. For the most part, you had a good crew there that you worked with.
Oh, they were
and you
like
loved
my best
the guys.
friends. Yeah, we would always go and drink together. We'd always hang out, and I would tell them like we were raunchy. We were garbage men.
Course.
We fucking It was terrible. Yeah. There was the one day. This is funny. I was in like this terrible relationship, like so bad. All we did was scream and fight. Hey, sorry? Yeah. We just we cheated on each other constantly, and she would throw my shit out into the driveway, and she would
break
try to
your
kick
fucking
me in the
doors
balls and break my phone. And yeah,
did it fall from a mountain or whatever?
Did it fall from a helicopter?
A helicopter,
yeah. And I was like the morale guy at work. They're like, Kevin, we love you. You keep the morale up. You're fucking awesome. You're a pain in my neck. You piss me off.
Fucking pain in the ass, but you're funny.
We love you, right?
Yeah.
And so he pulls me in the office one day, and I worked there for about like 5 years, maybe 6.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Kev, we noticed that you're not your typical self. And we know that something's wrong. We know shit at home isn't great. And he hands me this like self-help counselor pamphlet. And I stood there, and I had tears streaming down both eyes. And I was like, no, I'm okay.
I'm fine.
I'm totally fine. What are you talking about? Aww. And he's like, just maybe put that in your pocket. And I was like, I'm good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Bawling
your eyes out.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. I'm in a better place now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised that, thinking back, I'm surprised that a place like that was as much rough and tough boys. If you don't know how to take apart a truck and fucking do this, then you're not a man. Yeah. But they still even had that option there for counseling and shit.
Well, and even that they were maybe trying to break that whole toxic masculinity in a space that was very masculine, and just hey, maybe you need this, So when I met you, okay, when I had known you or of you for a while, I'd been following you on Instagram because you had followed me. I was tattooing in your neighborhood, kind of.
Added you on Facebook and Snapchat.
Well, no, before this even, I remember following you, and I was like, oh, he makes art, it's cool, whatever. And then I saw that you were tattooing in your basement, and I was a pretentious piece of shit at the time, and I was like, fuck this guy, and I unfollowed you. But then I just kept thinking about you, which is so creepy because we hadn't even talked at this point, besides maybe liking a post or a comment or whatever. And then I folled you again. I
commented on your fox tattoo.
Yeah. Those super clean lines. Fox, yeah. And I followed you back or whatever. And so I knew that you had been tattooing in your basement and didn't have an apprenticeship. That's how I started. I was really young when I started too. So
don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that shit. Don't get a fucking machine online. It's fucking stupid. You're not going to get anywhere. If you do want a tattoo,
starting there is going to make it much harder for you.
Much harder, and no one's going to take you seriously. So go get an apprenticeship like a fucking adult. Anyways, so when I met you, I knew that you'd been doing this. I knew that you had machines. The first night we met, we tattooed our initials on each other at your house.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, send me what do you draw with? What do you draw on? You're like, I don't fucking know. I got these pencil crayons from elementary school and some printer paper.
Still had my initials on them.
And I was like, fuck, man. So I grabbed you a full Prismacolor set. I grabbed you paper, Copic marker, fucking
tracing
pigment liners and
paper
shit, like
pigment liners
everything.
and yeah, like
It was like a lot of money,
like
worth
over
of shit.
$100.
Oh,
worth
for
of-
sure. It was probably
for
like $200
a total stranger.
for a total stranger. And I randomly showed up at his house in Calgary, which is a different city. And I was like, here, this is what you're going to draw with now. And you were just like, what the fuck? Because I was like, if you want a tattoo, like, you have it, you have the talent, you can do it, but like, you got to start with like using the right shit,
tools,
essentially. Like, an artist is only as strong as their tools, right? So you kind of started there, and like you drew all, like, that's all we would do.
Yeah.
Anytime we were hanging out, we would just draw all the time. And like back then we weren't using iPads. It was all paper. It was all, sketching on napkins at the restaurant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you kind of made that decision to move to Lethbridge, because I had just moved to Calgary.
To leave a high-paying job.
Yes.
And
For me.
leave the city I was born in
Yeah.
to move to a city I'd never been to.
Yeah. And like this boy wouldn't date girls that lived on the other side of Calgary.
I would date them. I would date them, but they had to come to me.
They had to come to him.
I would
Yeah.
not drive more than
Yeah.
15 minutes to go meet a girl. And then you're like, you want to see me again? Fucking drive 2 hours to
Yeah.
come see me. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I did that. But then when you decided, like, I don't know, it wasn't really like a conscious decision to apprentice.
Yeah, well, there was like other factors.
There was definitely
but,
other
like,
factors for sure.
It was like,
But
you know what? My band was kind of dying.
yeah,
And I figured, like I've always wanted a tattoo.
Yeah.
I had attempted an apprenticeship twice.
Yeah.
Or I asked about.
but they were like
Yeah,
shady as
yeah.
fuck, like a step up from being
yeah.
in your basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just never panned out. And, I was pretty much done with the city I was living in. I burned a lot of bridges in that
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
And,
You drove out here and you were like, oh, it's really pretty.
yeah.
And I had Frank and Cheese and they loved you.
Yeah, them kitty boys.
You just fit right in. And then you didn't want to apprentice at the shop that I was at the time.
Well, no, I didn't know.
'Cause you didn't wanna work
if we
with
could
me.
work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it
Even though we got married after knowing each other 4 months. But yeah, you were very adamant. Like, I do not, like, we get along so good and like shit is so solid that I don't want to apprentice in the shop Nikki's at or under Nikki, because I don't want to
Right.
mix that. Like, I don't want to fuck up with what we have.
And then the shop owner said, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have you in town making someone else money.
You're going to make me
You're
money.
going to make me money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I got fired from that.
And then you got fired from that. But it was weird. And I will say it was very hard to teach you, not anything on your end, but on my end, it was very hard for me to ever be like, yo, you fucked this up, or like do this, or like even now, if I see you, like, and I'm like, I can see that you're struggling, or like that there's an easier way to do something, like, I'm so scared to tell you, which is stupid, but that is my version of you not wanting to apprentice in a shop I was at or under me, because I don't want to like cause outside issue, and I don't want you to ever take offense to it. So I will say that teaching you was one of the hardest to find balance. To find this balance of I am teacher and I am wife, and at what point do I need to be teacher, and at what point, like,
Right.
And there was times, I think, especially when we were at the other shop before we had our own, where you had told me a couple times, like, I feel like I'm just a coworker. Or like, when we're at home, I don't want to be a fucking coworker anymore. Like, I'm your fucking husband, and we need to find like this kind of balance. But I think once we were on our own, once we had our own shop, it got a lot easier.
Once we were sober.
Once we were
too.
sober, yeah. Sobriety
Alcohol
was
big.
Yeah. Yeah. I was sober
complicates
through that part of it.
Doesn't make anything easier.
I was sober through that part of it. You were not for the first bit, like the first kind of attempt we did at you apprenticing. And I remember you, if you had an appointment, because we had to share a station at that shop.
Yeah.
And I remember it would, I would have my appointments from 1 to 5 or 6 or whatever, and then you would have like an evening And I remember, like, you didn't fucking want to do that.
Well, no, come 5
Because
o'clock.
come 5 o'clock, you wanted to be fucking
drinking.
crushing beers.
Yeah.
So that, and I was
cut to us tattooing till 1 a.m.
Yeah,
on a Friday night.
Right. But I was never going to be the one to say, like, hey, you need to decide if it's tattooing or drinking. Like, that was what did it for me. Especially the first time that I quit drinking, when it was really bad, like before I knew you, it was, I need to decide if I'm going to be a fucking professional alcoholic or if I'm going to fucking tattoo.
Right.
And take this seriously and build a fucking empire or whatever. But I didn't want to be the person to make you make that decision. I knew that there was either going to be a situation or like a light bulb moment for you
Right.
where
Well,
it hit, because you can't make somebody get sober if they're not fucking ready
It
to.
ended up being a situation.
And there was a situation.
And I was drunk off my ass.
Fuck. Well, you were.
Off my ass.
Yeah.
And you looked at me and you're like, you're always fucking drunk. Why are you always fucking drunk? And I was super drunk.
And
I looked at you and I said, you'll never see me
Yeah.
drink again. And you're like, I'll believe it when I see it.
yeah.
And then the next day,
And-
come 5 o'clock,
Well,
you're like, are you going to the liquor
it
store?
wasn't even.
And I was like,
in the morning.
no.
You were dumping, because we had roommates at the time, and you were dumping all the booze in the house down the, like, you were like, I'll buy them new shit, I don't care, but I'm getting rid of it all. And I will say that, like, that was probably not a good reaction out of me. I mean, that night was very emotional. There was a lot going on. So for me to, like, from when I said, why are you always drunk or whatever, like, that was all emotion.
And it wasn't like I
obviously.
drink 4 or 5 beers.
No.
It was like, I'll drink 8 or 15.
Yeah. It was,
I'd buy a
you
15-pack
would
every
drink
day.
and drink and drink and drink, and then you would just pass out for the night. Like, you weren't going to sleep at night.
I would go to sleep. I'd go to bed. I wouldn't pass out on the floor or some shit.
No. But you weren't like, okay, curl up and think about my day. It was like, curl up on the bed, done.
Yeah.
Your brain's off.
Yeah.
And then, like, when when you said, you'll never see me drink again, and I said, like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, like, I think that was more a reaction to my own drinking, because
Right.
I didn't think that I would quit. So it was kind of like a tough love thing, which wasn't a good way to.
I had quit once before, and
Yeah.
I quit cold turkey.
And you did what, 13 months?
13 months.
Yeah.
But at that time was long before I met you.
Yeah.
And that was literally because I could not afford to drink the
couldn't afford
next
to
day.
drink. Yeah.
I spent all my money
So
on
that
booze.
was almost sobriety out of necessity.
I would sell shit.
Yeah.
I would go without eating. I'd go without paying bills
Yeah.
as long as I could drink.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there one night getting drunk off my ass. And I
Yeah.
look at my bank account, minus $300.
Yeah.
I looked at my shit inside. I was like, I have nothing that I can sell to go get boot beer money.
Yeah.
I had already maxed out my line of credit, maxed out my credit card. I had maxed out my allowance from the cash money, fucking cash advance.
I forgot about those. Fuck those.
And I was like, I literally cannot drink tomorrow unless I ask a friend for money to drink.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to do that. So that
So,
night,
yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
sobriety
okay,
out of
Kevin,
necessity.
you're not drinking tomorrow. And if you can't drink tomorrow, then you might as well quit
Probably
because you're
shouldn't be
fucking up your
drinking.
streak. Because
Yeah.
I would drink every day.
Every day, yeah.
And so then I was in this terrible relationship and I had money now and a
Yeah.
good job. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start drinking again because, girl, you're driving me wild.
Yeah, driving me fucking crazy.
And and then I started right where I picked up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were right back into it. Was it, like, from the outside looking in, it didn't look hard for you, but I'm sure that there were and there are moments that you...
Only bad moments.
Bad moments,
When
yeah.
life's really hard.
Yeah.
When, a cat passes away or
Yeah.
a family member passes away or, like something super stressful happens.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, I want to drink to numb this.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't smell beer and I'm like, yum.
Yeah.
Like, beer smells like piss.
Yeah. When we went to OJ's the other night there with our friend, and I was like, this place fucking stinks. Like, this sucks. But no,
we had a nice time there.
We did have a nice time, but I would.
The waitress sneezed in our food.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with you there though, that, like, it's not the smell of it that, is the, like,
Right.
is that switch for me, but it's definitely like an emotional thing. I think this year, like through COVID, I know so many people who relapsed.
Right.
Or,
the smell of cigarettes, though.
Oh, the smell of cigarettes, boy. Fuck. It's a love or hate. Either I'm like, fuck yeah, give me one, or I'm like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
But
you walk out of Walmart and it's raining, and you can smell someone by the front door smoking a cigarette.
It's gonna get so bad for me because I love smoking out in the winter.
Yeah.
I love smoking outside in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like with COVID, a lot of people I know had relapsed or had,
you're home.
Right? Exactly. And I don't think that there was a moment during COVID or lockdowns that I really felt like I wanted to, but I will say this last year, like since February, there have been a lot of moments for me personally where I've journaled about it, where I'm like, man, sobriety is, besides my shop, the thing I am most proud of in my life. I come from a family who's all alcoholics and shit and all have drinking problems, and so I'm proud of it, but there were a lot of moments this year where I was like, how proud am I?
Right.
Or should I just like, does it fucking matter if I'm sober? What the fuck does it matter if I'm sober? Nobody's fucking counting except for me.
Like, the day we go on vacation to Hawaii or go see fucking
when we go
Tom Schwartz from Vanderpump.
Yeah.
Then we can.
I'll take a shot.
Then we can have
I've said if I ever like go to the Rainbow.
But we just won't tell anyone, and that won't
exactly. Count. If we go to the Rainbow, like you have to have a shot of Jack for Lemmy. Like that, it's
Was it Jack or was it Crown?
But I think Lemmy's drink was die.
Was Lemmy's drink?
It was
Crown?
Jack Daniels.
Okay, I'm thinking of Dime Bag.
I would die. One shot would. I take a fucking Claritin and I'm out for 12 hours.
Yeah.
If I take a shot, take my social media away for the next 24 hours because it'll be brutal. And I will say too, for me at least, this last time that I was drinking again when I met you was nowhere near where I was.
As bad as it was, yeah.
I think the last time I quit was more out of like, this feels pointless, not this feels detrimental to my fucking well-being. And originally it was very much that. But I can see, like, if I did start drinking again because of emotional shit, I can see it quickly falling back into where I was the first time I quit.
When I was drinking, I thought there was something seriously wrong with me. My stomach hurt so much every day that I couldn't wear a seatbelt. The seatbelt hurt my stomach.
Yeah.
And I went and I got what's that fucking ultrasound because I thought I had a fucking
like ulcer
or some shit. Yeah. I just was drinking way too much.
Yeah.
So what did we learn today? That
tattooing is cool as fuck.
Tattooing's cool.
But do it properly.
Working sucks. Drinking's bad
it's
for you.
It's fun as hell, but very bad for you.
If you can get a job at the landfill, fucking do it.
Do it. Because you'll see some really cool shit.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
Are you going to do the sign out today?
I can do the sign out today.
Okay.
This was Kevin Causes Chaos. We do new episodes every Sunday. If you want to get early access Friday nights, then check out the Patreon link in my bio. You can sign up for $3 Canadian. That's nothing. You'll also get access to behind the scenes footage, deleted scenes. You can ask us questions. You can ask Kevin questions, requests on what you want him to talk about, all that fun jazz. But until next week,
you can politely go fuck yourself.